If you ride the Tour de France and you have a bottle of oxygen on your back and a mask and you breathe oxygen, of course you're going to ride much faster, you have more energy, and that's why obviously it is considered doping and it's illegal. I want to adapt my skills and my body to the altitude and not the environment to my skills. So that's why I don't use bottled oxygen as a sports person. That's like taking away a big part of the experience.
1953, Hillary and Tenzing stand on top of the world. Fixed ropes, oxygen, big teeth. 1978, Messner and Haveler go without oxygen. 1980, the first winter ascent. Polished grid at its finest. Everest becomes crowded, commercialized, predictable. No oxygen, no Sherpa support. In winter, when winds reach 250 kilometers per hour. When Everest feels like 9,136 meters. Alone on the difficult West Ridge. This is about redefining what's possible. This is Jost Kobusch's Everest.
In 1963, an American team set out to climb the unclimbed west side of Everest. They opened a route there and a couloir at the top of Everest, which now is called the Hornbein Couloir after Tom Hornbein, who did the first ascent. And then it's been rarely revisited for reasons. It's a tough climb. Huh? There's not only rock climbing at the beginning and ice climbing, mixed climbing, but you also have rock climbing at the top. We're talking 5th grade at 8,500 meters, which is super hard. Yes, you can climb that like in the gym easily, a kid can climb that. But if you add to the equation this very thin air and difficult to protect areas, it's a massive challenge. I'm not going to exactly repeat the original climb, but I'm looking for a line that looks very logically to me, where I combine different route sections into some kind of a new route. Obviously, I'm not doing a first ascent, I'm just rearranging different lines that have been climbed before into a line that I think works best for me as a solo climber, because I definitely want to avoid the crevasses of the Khumbu icefall and the instability of the constant icefall and avalanches there. That means I'm climbing up to Lola first. Then from Lola, I'm climbing higher through the face on top of the West Ridge. Then it's going to have a pretty long traverse on the West Ridge until I then traverse into the Hornbein Couloir, which has the tough technically difficulties, like super tough at the top, topping out. And then the original expedition would descend on a normal route, but since I'm there in the winter, I have to descend the same route again. I have my camps installed there, nobody else is going to be on the mountain, so I have to rely solely on my skills of survival and on the infrastructure that I installed before. When I open my tent in the morning on the West Ridge, I look down, I look at an Everest that is quiet. Nobody's there in the winter. And even if I was there in normal season, nobody would even be on the West Ridge. That means I'm surrounded by total wilderness. It feels like the Everest that Hillary and Tenzing encountered when they did the first ascent. And to me, alpinism is a journey into the unknown, and that's why I chose the West Ridge. The beginning of this route starts with some rock climbing. The rock climbing is slightly overhanging and of questionable quality. That's already quite tricky. The other tricky bit is avoid to be hit by an avalanche while you climb that. Usually when you're in the rock face, the avalanche overshoots you, but it's not nice to be there. Then there's a second rock balcony, another 70 meters of like very sustained steep rock climbing. From there, I will traverse onto a glacier, climb up the glacier, which is tricky in itself because, first of all, it's often blue ice, so it's hard ice climbing. It takes a lot of energy to like put the ice axis in there. After that, we have more ice climbing, some mixed climbing, a long ridge traverse, and then the real challenges start. The real challenges start at the top of this route. We're having 2 rock steps, approximately around 8,500 meters. There is a section of 30 meters of 5th grade, and there's another section just below it in a similar difficulty of pure rock climbing. Before I would top out into easier grades towards the top, but it is technical, it's rock climbing, it's a challenging route, and that's why for this route there is a topo existing. A map of the route basically, shows where the difficulties are of the route. And usually you have a topo only for very challenging routes. Normal routes of summits, even if they're 8,000 meter peaks, they don't have topos. Topos are done for routes that are demanding in climbing, where you need to know when the difficulties come and maybe even how you can solve them. Unfortunately, I have this topo. It was like passed on to me from previous expeditions that made it, but there's not much details about any climbing. It's really about figuring it all out, and that's the beauty of it. From Kathmandu, I'm taking a small airplane flying to Lukla into the Khumbu region, hiking to the base camp. For a few days, I'm already pre-acclimatized, so I can go up fast. And then I'm setting up my base camp in a lodge. I don't even set up tents or anything. I'm staying in a village called Lobuche. And so I basically commute to work every morning. It's just like driving into the city when you have a job. But I'm taking 2 extra hours to go because the winter storms have been so intense on equipment and tents that I've decided to stay in the lodges that are already there. So guys, now you've seen the challenge of the route. And we also have the weather, which is very intense in the winter. And there's a very important third component into this equation here. It's the alpinist, me. And we'll talk about me in the next episode.